What up, family? CTR Media Network. Yeah. Best in the biz. Yeah. Join the team. CTR is who we are, the media network, that's the best by far. Whether you listen at your home, at your job, in your car, come get the information that's needed above all. Never lasting, motivational podcasting, giving you the answers to the questions that you asking. Serious talks and topics, how to come up and profit, how to better yourself, your health is here. We got it, reaching 350 million, they tuning in. We in 50 different countries, we all can. And like-minded, find your purpose and your assignment. Come get your fix, your feel, your mental alignment. Get active and speak to the masses. Build your influence all levels and all classes. Now you know you can monetize and grow. CTR Media Network, start the show.
The Vera Tommy Show. The Vera Tommy Show. The Vera Tommy Show. The Vera Tommy Show. Let's talk about it. 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 On the Vera Tommy Show. Let's talk about it. Yeah.
Hello. And yes, I am very excited about my guest. We're going to be talking about a very serious topic that we're hoping is going to uplift, encourage, motivate, inspire, and educate parents and those who may be involved with children of divorced parents. So, I'm getting ready to call you Jackie. Rosalind, how are you?
Oh, I'm wonderful. So good to be with you today.
Yes, I am so happy that you are here with me today. And before, I have a video that I want to share, but I think I'm going to do your bio first and then the video. So Rosalind Sedacca is a certified divorce coach, and she's recognized as the voice of child-centered divorce. She is a divorce and co-parenting coach and founder of the Child-Centered Divorce Network, which provides advice, programs, coaching, and other valuable resources for parents who are facing, moving through, or transitioning after a divorce. She is the author of How Do I Tell the Kids About the Divorce? Create a storybook guide to preparing your children with love. An internationally acclaimed ebook designed to help parents get through the tough divorce talk with the best possible outcome for themselves and their children. Rosalind has also created several ebooks and e-courses on co-parenting success strategies, including an 8-hour anger management for co-parents course. She also hosts the Divorce, Dating, and Empowered Living radio show and podcast. And you can learn more about her services at her website, www.childcarecenteredivorce.com. And that is scrolling on our screen. So I am just elated to have you here. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to play this little video to give our audience a little more sense of your passion, your purpose, and what it is that you do.
Divorce can be brutal on kids, physically, emotionally, and psychologically.
If you're a parent who's divorcing or divorced, it's crucial that you protect your innocent children so they don't pay the price. Hi, I'm Rosalind Sedacca, a divorce and co-parenting coach who helps parents make the best decisions about their kids before, during, and yes, long after divorce, so you don't rob your children of their childhood, and instead set the stage for giving them a promising and happy future. With my experience, compassion, and strategies, I help you make things right. Schedule a free Zoom session with me to discuss meaningful options for addressing your needs. There's no charge or obligation, and I'll also send you my free ebook on successful post-divorce parenting. Just use the link on the screen to schedule now.
Yes. And you know what? I'm going to give you a few minutes to share with our listening audience a little bit more about Rosalind Sedacca and what is it that drives you? Why do you have such a passion for this particular niche? So I'm going to give you the floor and just kind of share a little about your story.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate that. And yes, this is my passion. The reason I became a divorce and co-parenting coach was something I never expected in my life. It wasn't something that I strove to do as I was growing up, but I had a divorce myself back in the 90s when my son was 11 years old, and it was a very traumatic experience, as it is for so many families. And you never know, did I mess my child up? Did I harm them psychologically or emotionally? And are they scarred for life? And that's something that I was living with for so many years. And one day, when my son was in his early 20s, out of the blue, he came to me and he said, "You know, Ma, you and Daddy did a really good job with the divorce. And I just want to thank you, because most of my friends whose parents divorced either hate their parents or are very angry at them. And I think you two were great." And I just let out such a sigh of relief because I was holding on to so much guilt and insecurity. And that became a catalyst moment for me. I realized that I had learned so much in the years after our divorce about how to get through divorce and how to co-parent successfully and how to protect your children, that I realized that I had so much to share that I founded the Child-Centered Divorce Network and then became a divorce and co-parenting coach. And because my background originally was in writing, I went on to write several books and ebooks and courses, all to help parents before, during, and long, long after divorce to make the best decisions to protect their children. And that's how it all came to be.
That is amazing. And just think, you had no idea the impact that you had on your son in terms of the relationship that you and his father established co-parenting.
Yes.
And just because a marriage does not work does not mean that either person is a bad person. It just means that they weren't good together. And
Exactly.
so being able to understand that and to help parents understand that is what is needed. And so after he said to you how other friends of his have relationships or lack thereof relationships with their parents, that's when you recognize, I got to do something. I need to do something about it.
Yes. And I'm so proud. My son wrote the foreword to my book on breaking the divorce news to children. And he actually flew in and joined me on the stage in Manhattan at a big divorce expo several years ago. And so after I spoke as a divorce expert, talking about my own experience, he got up on the stage and answered questions for the audience. As a child of divorce, he was 11. He went through the rest of his life as a child of divorce, and he shared the fear and the anxiety and the worry he had, and how he made it through all those years, and the gift that he felt he got from us, because we so-called did divorce right, in the sense that we get along well. I see his dad twice a year and for holidays, and we're fine, all of us. And we both remarried, and we have a wonderful extended family relationship. And that's what I tell my clients, that you want to look and think ahead to the future, because right now you may be so angry and you may want to just do anything you can to hurt your former ex or your soon-to-be ex, and to let them know that there's other ways of approaching this, and there's going to be better times ahead. And you want to do your divorce in a way that your children are going to thank you when they're grown adults.
Absolutely. And one of the things I want us to talk about is that angst that is between couples when they split up, and how so many times they pit each other against each other in front of the child, and therefore leaves the child doing like this, not knowing, how, having a fear that if I say something good about my one parent, it's going to impact the other parent, and it just puts them in a state of flux. So let's talk about that.
You hit it right on the head, Vera. That's exactly what happens. It's a no-win situation for a child. You love both parents innately. Even if both parents weren't good parents, you love them, you don't want to hurt them, and you don't want to be taking sides because you feel guilty. And it's a terrible position to put children in. So that's one of the first things I have to remind my clients about, is the fact that your children love you, and all they want is peace.
Yes.
They want peace between the parents.
Yes, absolutely. Now, in my case, I left my ex-husband when my son was 6 months old. So we didn't experience that back and forth like that. And I felt, having had my own personal experience with my father, I wanted to make sure that my son had a relationship with his dad, regardless of the relationship that him and I had, that my son had nothing to do with. He didn't ask to come here.
Exactly.
He had nothing to do with it.
Right.
So why should I insinuate him in the mess? So talk about that.
That's mindfulness. That's thinking and putting yourself in your child's shoes. And when you do that, you avoid so many serious mistakes, because you're understanding what it's like for that innocent child. And regardless of what the age of your child is today, it's very hard to believe that they're going to grow up and be adults and hold you accountable, but they will. We know that.
Yes.
And so you could get away with anything when your child is 3 or 8 or 12 or 17 even, and tell them things. And a lot of parents do that. They manipulate the truth. They sort of try to get the kids to be on their side, and you can get away with a lot, but ultimately it catches up with you, and your kids will hold you accountable. And when they find out the truth as adults, a lot of them are very angry, as my son said, very angry, very hurt, and the relationships are often scarred when you're adults with your parents. But it doesn't have to be that way. And so one of the first questions I ask clients is, how can we make life better after the divorce than it is before the divorce? So there may have been fighting and battles or an uncomfortable feeling in the home of tension, and so many things that went on the weeks, the months, maybe the years before the divorce. And what can we do now, starting today, that the two of us as co-parents can do to make life better for those innocent kids, because they deserve the best we can give them? And when you start with that attitude, your mind goes into a different place, and you start thinking of what little things can we do for the kids, and smiling at one another when you're exchanging homes, and just being nice to one another as parents is one little teeny thing you could do that the kids appreciate. Because one of the biggest mistakes that parents make is fighting around the kids. And whether it's fighting in the same room, or if you're fighting on the phone, or if you're fighting in another room, the kids pick up on the energy.
Yes.
And studies have proven time and time again that's one of the worst mistakes any parents can make, divorce or not. If you're fighting around the children, it scars them and hurts them emotionally.
Absolutely. I'm so glad you mentioned that because I am a firm believer, and I often tell parents, don't argue in front of your kids. Go in your bedroom, go outside, have them go to their room. Try to keep your voices down because it traumatizes a
Yes,
child.
it does. And kids are innocent, but they're going to try to fix it. So you
Yes.
have your 5-year-old or your 8-year-old or your 13-year-old trying to fix your relationship. Kids can't fix it. We as adults couldn't fix it. We wouldn't be in the mess we were in if we could fix it. It's so complex, but children don't understand that. And so very often they'll blame themselves when there's tension.
Yes.
They'll blame themselves. Maybe if I didn't hit my brother all the time, maybe if I didn't get a bad grade on my report card, maybe if I played the sports that daddy wanted me to play, maybe then they wouldn't be divorcing. And of course, none of that is the real reason you're divorcing. And it's not the kids' faults. They're always innocent, but they don't understand that. So we have to tell them and remind them that they're innocent, that this isn't their fault, no matter, even if you're fighting about the kids, it's not the kids' fault.
Right.
And we have to keep those arguments away so that they can live with peace, just a sense of security and peace of mind. That's a gift we can give our kids, and a gift they certainly deserve.
Now I'm going to play the devil's advocate here. Okay, so you've got a very bitter wife from an abusive situation. And it seems like every time the two of them are together, exchanging the children, you still feel that angst. So what do you say to parents when they have not gotten past the hurt? They haven't gotten past the bitterness. They haven't gotten past that angst that is between the two of them. What do you say to them?
I had a client that was in that exact situation, and it's more common than we realize. So it's very common. And she was so angry because he not only had an affair, but he had the second affair while she was pregnant with the third child. Oh. So you could understand her sense of justification of being really angry and hurt. And she was so angry that no matter what I said to her about the kids being impacted by the fighting and the bad mouthing one another and calling their dad bad names and all of that, she heard me say it, but she couldn't get it. She just could not accept that because she felt vindicated. She felt justified. And it wasn't until a couple of years later after the divorce, when the little child, who was 3 at the time and now was maybe 5 or 6, said to her, "Mommy, you're always so angry whenever we're around Daddy, and it makes me so sad." And a couple of the siblings said the same thing, and she suddenly got it, that her children were being hurt. It's not that she was getting back at Dad and hurting him. She was hurting her kids, and she stopped the behavior, and everything smoothed out for the children. And the parents could be at the occasion, certain birthdays, certain holiday times when families were together with the grandparents, and they were able to ease the situation. We don't want to have to wait 2 or 3 years past your divorce before you get that message. Your children need you to be calm and respectful when you're with the other parent. So the way you treat one another is a reflection of what you're raising your children to, how they can handle stress and challenges in life. So we have to remember, one, that we're role models for our kids. Even if they can't speak and talk to us about what they're feeling it, they're picking it up and experiencing it. And when we role model negative behavior, we can't blame them for then demonstrating negative behavior a few years later.
Absolutely.
Also, if we learn to treat our co-parent with a little more respect and dignity, they're more likely to do that back at us. So I encourage my clients to catch your co-parent doing something nice, just like you try to do with your kids. Catch them doing something nice and acknowledge them. You don't have to make a big deal about it, but everyone needs a pat on the back. So just a smile and saying, thanks for picking Henry up 2 hours earlier on Saturday. I know that was an inconvenience, but it made a huge relief for me. Thanks for going and picking up the kids' shoes, because I never would have made it with my meeting appointment. Those are the little things that if you do that for each other, it makes co-parenting easier. We all need favors in life. No one, no matter how stringent your co-parenting scheduling and plans are, everything is going to need a time when there's an accident, there's a mistake, there's some catastrophe that happens. And we have to be able to depend on our co-parents and say, hey, I need a favor from you. And they're more likely to give you that in return. And that's the start of a mature, responsible relationship that's going to last not months, not years, decades, because you're going to be co-parents for the rest of your life. And sometimes it's very hard to conceive of that when you have a 5-year-old at home, that
Right.
this co-parenting is going to be into grandparenting. And so you're setting the stage for a relationship that needs to be long lasting. And one other point, there's nothing more embarrassing than to see two exes at a child's special, wonderful event, a
Yeah.
graduation, a birthday party, a sporting event, whatever is going on, and the two parents can't be in the same room for 2 hours, can't be sitting in the same bleachers, can't be dancing at this happy occasion, and embarrassing the children. Children hold on to that. They are not very happy having to babysit their parents who aren't mature enough to behave in a way that's respectable and responsible.
Exactly.
And the children you love.
Exactly. And that also teaches a child disrespect. And then parents hear kids hear how parents are talking to each other, and they get older and they feel like, well, I can talk to you that way. You know, I heard you talk to dad that way. I heard you talk to mom that way. So if you can talk to each other that way, I can talk to you like that. And I'm telling you, there are a lot of kids that show such disrespect, but it's because they see it.
Yes.
They see it.
And also, for many, it carries on into their own personal love relationships. And so their marriages are doomed from the beginning because they don't understand how to be respectful with your life partner. And it's so sad because so many of these things are generational. They just pass, they pass from generation to generation. My passion is to stop it here and now and to get parents to stop and think and make smarter decisions right from the get-go that are going to give their children a happier life and a happier future in their own relationships.
And the reason that you need Rosalind is because, Rosalind, I'm sorry.
Rosalind.
Yes. Okay, the reason you need Rosalind is to stop that cycle and to understand you can't teach what you don't know, and you can't give what you don't have. And if you've experienced, if that's all you've known, if that's all you've seen from your parents, then it's a no-brainer that in most cases, you're going to carry on the very same way. And we need to break that cycle so children are not, one, traumatized, and two, repeating these kinds of behaviors. And when you mention about being able to say thank you to each other, that teaches a child manners.
Yes.
And that's so important. How many times people do things for people and they never even say thank you?
Yeah, you're so right. And that reminds me of something related, is being able to apologize and take responsibility for your behavior. Because very often people listen to the things I'm saying and they say, oh my God, I shouldn't have said that. 2 years ago, I did this. And they have regrets and they look back, and I remind them that it's never too late to look your child in the eye and say, I am so sorry. Mommy said something that I shouldn't have said. Mommy made a decision that I regret now, and I apologize. It was the wrong thing to do. It gives your children the permission to admit that they were wrong sometimes, to know that they can apologize and own their own behaviors and that they will be forgiven. So they're learning so much from your behavior. And it frees them up to say, life, it's not about you make a mistake and that's the end of it. We can move on past mistakes. We all make mistakes.
Yes.
If I knew better, I would do better.
Yes.
So take the time to acknowledge the mistakes you made and say, now I learned a lesson. I'm going to do it differently from now on. And your kids will respect you even more than before and feel free to take responsibility for their own behaviors.
And not only that, you're showing your child that you value them.
Yes.
And that you honor them. And when you apologize for your wrong, you're telling your child, I'm apologizing to you because you matter to me, because I messed up and I know I was wrong. But then as a parent, we can't beat ourselves up because of the past mistakes that we've made. You can't move forward looking back. And once it's over, it's done. So all you can do at that point is apologize and move on, because you don't want your children constantly seeing the reflection, seeing you reflecting on the past, because then they learn to do that as well.
I totally agree with you. Yes. And there's another factor connected to all of this that I think it's worth bringing up, and that is very often we try to become confidants for our children and turn them into confidants.
Yes.
And we want our kids to become our little therapists. So we vent to them and we gripe to them and we talk to them as we would our close friend. But our kids aren't in a position to be our parents. Once we confide in them, we rob them of their childhood. They're no longer children with the mindset of a child. They're little adults, but their brains aren't developed enough to take on the complexities of adult responsibilities, as we already know, which are too difficult for us. So we're putting our children in a very uncomfortable position to try to become
them.
Yes. And they're not our therapists. They're not our confidants. They're not our close friends. They're our children.
Yes.
And we have to give them the space to have the innocence of a child while they have those first 20 years, because you never get that back again.
Absolutely. And again, do not insinuate your children in your adult personal stuff.
Yes.
And not only that, not only all the things that Rosalind has already said, but it causes them stress, and it causes them to worry, and it causes them to feel like, oh, what can I do? And so you're putting a lot of pressure on your children when you insinuate them into your mess and what it is that you're going through.
Well said.
So I'm hoping that parents will listen to this and listen to the replay, listen to the podcast, and clearly understand the impact that they have when there is a divorce, a separation, a breakup. One of the other things that, and I'm sure you probably talk about this, after a divorce, I think both individuals should be very, very concerned and very cognizant of how soon they bring other people into that scenario.
Yes, what an important point you're bringing up. I'm going to put a little bit more light on myself. It's getting dark, and I'm just going to see if I can add a drop more light.
Okay,
to the picture. Okay, so.
Right. Oh, okay, that did it.
Okay.
Okay.
So, yes, and then I'm going to discuss just what you were talking about, because it's such a relevant point. And when you divorce and you don't have children, time goes by, you move on in your life, and you're looking for another relationship, and you could do whatever you want. But when you're a parent, you have to understand that dating after divorce involves children of all the different ages that they are and are going to be, and you have a responsibility to them. So it's very important that you go out into the dating world with the right mindset and always let people know that you're a parent. Sometimes people will hide it and say, well, I'll hide it for a few months, and then when we know each other better, I'll let them know that I have 2 children at home. No, you need to let people know right up front that you're a parent, that if your children are living with you full-time or part-time, whatever the relationship is, and that they mean the world to you. And nothing is more important in your life than your relationship to your children. And you don't expect a new love relationship partner to love your children, but you do want to find a person who likes kids and respects the fact that you have children and that they're an integral part of your life. And that's very important. They're not baggage or something that you could get rid of for the weekend and dismiss. So it's very important to have the mindset of including your children in your life and letting anyone know who's in your life that your children are a very important part of your life.
Yes, and be very, very cognizant of how soon you bring other people in to that relationship, because this may be someone that you only date a couple of times. You don't want your children to see a revolving door of relationships, because that also will impact them. I wrote a poem called After a Divorce or a Relationship. I like to share that because it really kind of ties in with what we're talking about.
Great.
After a divorce or end of a relationship, make sure for the future you are fully equipped by taking time for self. Put the thought of jumping into something serious on the back shelf. Get to know who you are all over again. Learn to be your best friend. What is it that's important to see? What are my values, must-haves, and beliefs? What part did I play in the demise? What lessons must I learn to make me wise? How did I handle my partner's behavior and mine? Was it hurtful or kind? I must accept my contribution. I must accept the reality and not the illusion, and recognize the mistakes of the past to move forward, not too slow, but not too fast. Who am I? What do I want in life? More peace, prosperity, less strife. Faith in the relationship with my higher power begins the new journey this present hour. Peace will come when my faith is realized. Prosperity in my pocket, my soul, and my mind. Now,
I love that.
thank you.
Just beautiful and right on target with your message.
Well, thank you. Because after a divorce, and you know it, and I know it, you have to, and especially depending on what type of relationship it was, if it was toxic, if it was demeaning, if it was belittling, if it was attacking of the character of either person, you have to find yourself again.
Yes.
Because you lose yourself. And putting other people into that equation, especially when you've got children, because your children have got to find themselves as well. Yes. You've got a whole process to go through with just you and your children before bringing other people into the situation.
Absolutely. I totally agree with that. It's very important. So I call it doing your homework first. You have to look within and answer the questions that you asked in that beautiful poem and really get to know yourself. And if you find that your self-esteem isn't solid and strong, now's the time to do the inner work first and boost your self-esteem and learn how to love yourself, get help and reach out if you need help in doing that, because no one is going to love you if you don't love yourself.
Absolutely.
When we're out in the dating world and we have low self-esteem, it's almost like wearing a kick me sign on the back. People will be attracted to you and exploit you and take advantage of you and be abusive. and maybe that's what a relationship you came out of in the marriage. You don't want to repeat that. So you have to love yourself and know your worth and your value. And
Yes,
when you can say to yourself, I'm a great catch and I deserve someone worthy of me. When you
absolutely.
go out that way, then you're more likely to attract a healthy partner who's already been working on themselves.
Yes,
And that's the only time you want to be with someone. And in the interval, while you're feeling your way in the relationship world, you don't want your children to be exposed to all of these partners, casual partners who come and go. You want to wait and do your dating separate when you're not with your children, and only wait until you really feel you have a keeper before you even open the door to introducing your children to a possible new partner in your life. And then there's a lot to know and think of and be aware of. I do a whole course on that with clients, preparing for dating, introducing your kids to new dates, introducing your ex to the fact that you are now dating and there's a new love relationship in your life. There's a lot of jealousies and insecurities and tensions that easily can grow during that kind of emotional turmoil. And all of that has to be worked out so that the children, you don't want anyone competing with one another. You don't want your children and your new partner competing for your love. They're different types of love entirely, and there should never be a competition. But it's up to you to help ease the way for your former partner, for your children, for yourself, and for the new person in your life.
absolutely. And from my own personal experience, I went into a marriage fully confident, full of self-esteem, feeling really good about who I was and what I was doing and all that kind of stuff. But within those 3 years, I lost all of that. I lost all of that.
Wow.
And so I had to regain
Yes.
that over again.
Hmm.
So when you have gone into a relationship and you recognize how much of yourself you've lost, that is a sheer indication that you've got to start all over again, building that confidence, building that self-esteem. And in my case, I had a child. So I needed what the stuff I was doing for myself to build that confidence and self-esteem. I needed to instill it and do it with him as well. So parents, as you are learning yourself all over again, as you are setting boundaries, as you are determining what are your deal breakers in a relationship, you need to be working with your kids to help build that confidence and self-esteem in them as well, so that they can feel confident and assured and feel good about the person you do eventually bring in, because they'll have that self-assurance and that confidence within themselves that they're not going to feel that sense of competition with someone else that's come into your life.
That's right. You so well said. So important. Thank you.
You're welcome. We could do this stuff together.
Yes. Well, we've been through it. We understand, and we're trying to help people who haven't been through it to save a lot of time and aggravation.
Yes.
If you get the messages we're conveying, it just can ease the path for you and make it so much simpler.
Yes. Now I want to talk about the anger issue and what are some things that you encourage when people have all this anger and they're showing the children all this anger. So what do you tell people who do have anger issues? How do you overcome that?
You need to identify it. Everything in life starts with awareness. You can't do anything in life unless it first starts with awareness. You have to look and say, have I been a person who has trouble handling my emotions? Can I control my anger? Do I get angry more easily than the average person? Do I lose control more easily? Do I get aggressive? Do I do things that I regret after the fact, too late? If you can identify a lot of those factors, and I address a lot of them in the program that I put together, then you could at least start and say, okay, I need some help. And that's the good place to start, is acknowledging I need some help. And then you could learn there's There are simple techniques for breathing and postponing the rage so that I could stop and think before I just explode and give myself an opportunity to make a different choice. There's ways of learning communication skills. There are better ways of saying things and not such good ways of saying things. If we say things with a pointed finger and a pointed tongue, and we're accusing people too quickly or putting them on the defensive, well, people are going to react very strongly and they're going to explode too. So there's ways of using I messages, talking about how I'm feeling rather than this and that.
Yes.
And it slows the process down. And we use that in our own relationships with our loved ones. And we want to use it in the office place, on a bus, in public, in places where we may be tempted to lose our tempers easily. So there are things to learn, there's things to practice, and there's ways of being more mindful and aware of your own triggers. So you could, there's a feeling we very often get inside our head, inside our heart, inside our shoulders, our stomachs, where we could feel it coming. If we identify that first, we could say, I'm going to turn around and I'm going to take 3 deep breaths before I do anything right now, or I'm going to step away. Sometimes it's saying, listen, I can't talk with you right now. Let's talk in an hour. And so there are tools that we could learn, that everyone can learn and master, and they make a difference. And suddenly they become part of your behavior patterns. And it really helps. And we're also, while we're practicing those things, getting positive reinforcement. Someone may smile at us because they're realizing that we're not the way we used to be. Someone may pat us on the back and saying, hey, thanks for being more patient. We're getting acknowledgement, and suddenly we feel better about ourselves. And all of those things help build us to move in that direction rather than the other direction, which was so damaging.
Absolutely. And you can't change what you don't acknowledge.
Exactly.
And awareness precedes the change. So be in tune with all those emotions, just as Rosalind said. We can feel when we're getting riled up. We can feel when we're getting ready to yell at our kids. We can feel when our blood pressure is rising. Yes. We can feel when we're starting to see red. We can feel those things. So be in tune with your emotions and your body and calm yourself down.
Yes. And there's another part of this too, and that is, what are we telling ourselves? We all have inner dialogue and we're not always aware of it. Become aware of what we're telling ourselves, because sometimes we treat ourselves much more cruelly than we ever treat anyone else we know. You wouldn't talk to your children or your friends the way you talk to yourself. Are you calling yourself a stupid person? Or are you criticizing and belittling yourself? When you're angry at yourself, it's so much easier to be angry at other people.
Absolutely.
So you want to
hurt people.
Yes, exactly. You want to be your best friend. We all have an inner parent side of us that we can use. The parenting who's saying nice things to us, who's calming us and forgiving us and loving us. And if we can love ourselves in that way and parent ourselves and say, it's okay, you made a mistake, tomorrow's another day, I forgive you, then it's easier to move on, because we are friends with us, our inner self. And we need to do that before we can be friends with other people outside of ourselves.
Yes. And speaking of which, a lot of what we're talking about are misconceived behaviors that impact on ourselves, in our homes, on our jobs, in relationships, in our society.
Yes.
That gives me a perfect time to announce I have a workshop coming up on misconceived behaviors on this Saturday, June 17th at 2 p.m. I'm only doing an hour. And within that hour, I will be sharing a few of the 21 misconceived behaviors that are out there. We're going to be not only looking at the behavior, but we're going to look at the cause of the behavior. the indicators of the behavior, the impact of the behavior, and then some resolution. So join me on Saturday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and you can register at bit.ly misconceived behaviors 2. Register today, and I'm telling you, you will leave with some feedback, some resolution, some ways that you can address the issue. And you may not be the person that's actually displaying this misconceived behaviors. It may be somebody that you live with, or someone you work with, or somebody that's a friend of yours. And you'll be able to help them understand that you understand the cause for them behaving that way. And you can also, based on facts and evidence, indicate, well, these are the indicators that I see. This is the impact that it has had on me, not pointing fingers, but the I statement, and then the resolution. And that's Saturday, June 17th, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And you can go to bit.ly misconceived behaviors 2. Okay, so I needed to, and you know what, Rosalind, I am supposed to be doing some commercials, but we have had, I mean, I can't believe that we've already spent 46 minutes talking about these things, and they're so important.
I know.
They're so important, but I do need to do a couple commercials.
Of course.
So hold on, let me get this.
Listen, if anybody's interested in getting into podcasting, grab this book. Go on Amazon, grab this book. It goes with me almost everywhere. This book has like a workbook. It has places you can fill it in. It tells you how to monetize your podcast. It tells you how to set it up. It tells you about sponsorships. It even, listen, go on Amazon and get this book. And this is the Bible for podcasters. Listen, it was ranked #1 in podcasting books. Look right here. Best new podcasting book by Book Authority. Right there. Boom. And a little secret. Y'all, when you grab this book, I think it's page 43. There is a code on there. Listen, you can get access to her class, her course. Get her course. It's worth hundreds of dollars. But this book is it's less than $50. Grab this book on Amazon. I'm telling you, I carry it everywhere. She is the best. Grab this book on Amazon.
Yes, I'm telling you, CTR Media Network, Dr. Tina Ramsey, she is the founder of CTR Media Network, and that is her book. And I can tell you, I'm a witness. This girl knows what she's talking about. And if you were to get that book, you'll become one of the best podcasters out there, and then become a part of her network. I'm telling you, it's awesome. As a matter of fact, let me share this.
Hello, everybody. I am Dr. Tina J. Ramsey, and I want to share with you about CTR Media Network. Have you heard? CTR Media Network is a new standard of podcasting with over 30 plus podcasters. We reach 350 million global listeners worldwide in over 50 plus countries across all major podcasting and social media platforms. We have featured over 1,000 guests. What we specialize in is helping business owners, entrepreneurs, coaches, and fellow podcasters expand their visibility on our platform. We're all about positioning with visibility, connections, and teaching you how to monetize what you do. Let me tell you something. If you're a business owner, we have sponsorships opportunities. We have commercial slots. We also have opportunities for you to be a featured guest on any of our shows. So what are you waiting for? CTR Media Network is who we are, and this is where you need to be. So go to ctrmedianetwork.com and click our store feature so that you can see which opportunity fits your life and your budget so that we can get started working with you today.
CTR Media Network. If you are a podcaster and you want to extend your reach, you want to expound, you want to really reach more people, you want to check out CTR Media Network. I have one more commercial I need to share. Let's see. Where is it? Okay.
Mama Knows creates high quality products that are available to be used on multiple textures of hair. Her goal is to bridge the gap to stop people from having to use multiple products because of families with multiple hair types. Her products are currently being used on men, women, children of all ethnicities. Mama Knows products are available at www.mamaknowsproducts.com. That's www.mamaknowsproducts.com. You can also find her on Instagram at Mama Knows Products because, Mama knows what you need.
Mama knows what you need. Mama Knows hair products are for all ethnicities, males and females. I'm using the products and they smell so good. They make your hair feel so great. I'm telling you, you want to check out mamaknowsproducts.com. mamaknowsproducts.com. All right, we've got 9 minutes. And so I can't believe the time has gone by so fast.
Yes.
All right. And I mean, you've given some great nuggets. And also, I have this as a tickler, but I'm going to make it not a tickler and put it up on the screen, because this is how people can reach you at www.childcenteredivorce.com. You want to check her out, especially if you have gone through a divorce, or you're going through a divorce, or you're transitioning and thinking about a divorce. You want to check out Rosalind Sedacca. You want to check her out because she's got wisdom. She's got tools. She's got resources that can help parents help their children better transition out of being in a two-family home into that single parent dynamic where both parents are involved in that child's life, just not together.
And I have a free gift on my website.
Oh, okay. So go to her website. She's got a free gift for you.
I have a free ebook on post-divorce parenting, success strategies for getting it right.
Okay,
So
well, you know what? Hold on. I'm going to put that in the comments, in addition to having it up here.
Wonderful.
So let me put it in the comment. Okay, so let me say free gift. And
ebook.
What is it?
It's free ebook, Post-Divorce Parenting, success strategy,
Post-divorce
parenting,
Uh-huh.
success strategies for getting it right.
Oh, I love it.
And we
Success.
talk about lots of the things we've been discussing and several more.
All right, that's awesome. Okay, so I'm posting this in the comments. So even after this show, you'll be able to see how to get this book. Okay.
And I have a couple of questions that parents may want to ask themselves when they're divorcing that's relevant to everything we've been talking about. One of the questions is if a parenting issue comes up, would I still be making the same parenting decision if we were still married? Would I still be making the same parenting decision if we were still married? Sometimes we would decide to do A, but because we're divorced and I want to get back at him or her, I'll say no. I'm going to just choose differently and decide differently and change my normal parenting activities and way of doing things. So you want to be very clear that you want to be parenting the way you were parenting before the divorce, after the divorce and not changing your parenting style if the purpose is to hurt your co-parent.
Yeah, let's say that, because we may recognize that our parenting style during marriage may not have been
right
the most effective way to raise my child. But again, if our parenting style is changing only to hurt somebody,
right.
then and there are 4 basic parenting styles, and we don't have time to get into them right now.
With any decision, we want our parenting to be pure about the parenting of our children and not changed because we're trying to hurt our ex in the process. That's the thing that's important.
Right.
And another important question is, what will our children think about the way we handle the divorce when they're grown adults? Very often it's hard to imagine because our kids are young now, but as we said earlier, they are going to be grown adults. So if you ask yourself today, how will the kids feel about the way we handled our divorce when they're grown? It can stop you in your tracks from making poor decisions, from making decisions that you may later regret. Ask yourself now, put yourself in your children's shoes, see the world from their perspective, and you're much more likely to make clean, caring, loving, professionally responsible and mature decisions. And that's what you want. You want to make mature decisions.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I need to play another commercial right quick, and then we'll be back. Yes, you want to go to San Pete Financial Group and find out what they can do for you and your business, from capital to resources that will help build your business financially. You want to check out San Pete Financial Group. All right. I was looking for their information, but the commercial went off quicker. All right. So we've got 3 minutes and we still have a lot to cover. There was something that you were saying. Oh, one of the things as parents and in relationships, we need to look at our motives. What are the motives for what we're doing? And that's what Rosalind was talking about. If you're doing it to hurt the other person, that's not a good motive. Yes. If you're doing that because you're feeling a lot of hurt and anger and all that kind of stuff, that's not a good reason. So understand the motives for what we do.
Yes.
And are they genuine? Are they sincere? Are they heartfelt? Or are they malicious in intent?
You got it. Absolutely important.
Wow. Okay. So Rosalind, why do I keep wanting to call you Jackie? I don't know. But Rosalind, all right, we've got 2 minutes. I'm going to give you the floor and let you just pour your heart out for the next couple of minutes. Okay.
Well, thank you. So remember that you are a role model and that your children are learning more from watching you than from listening to you. So it's not about lecturing, do what I say. It's about watching what you do, be mindful of what you're showing and teaching your children through your own activities and decisions. Make every decision count, especially when it has to do with the children, and learn to forgive yourself, forgive your ex, and forgive your children, because we're all going to make mistakes. But be the best role model you can be, and your kids will come to you when they're grown adults and thank you. And that's the best gift you could possibly get. Children who say, thank you, you did a good job. I know it was tough, but you did a good job, and we love and respect you.
Amen. And I can attest, my son, as a matter of fact, just the other day, He was saying, Mom, I'm so proud of you. You were a great mom. And that just touches your heart.
You're not kidding. That's what it's all about.
Yes. It's like, you're amazing, Mom. It's like, oh my God. For my son to say that,
yes.
It says that speaks volume to me.
It's a blessing.
So listen, everybody, we have ran out of time. And I'm just going to have you come back another time so that we can continue. And I must tell my audience that Rosalind really came through for me at the last minute. And she didn't have to do that. And so I really appreciate you coming in at the last minute. Thank you. And it was such a valuable work broadcast. So thank you so much. Thank you so very, very much. And you guys go to www.childcentereddivorce.com and don't forget about my workshop on Saturday. Okay, well, listen, God bless. And if you could hold on for a minute, I'll be right back. Have a great week and weekend. All right, bye-bye.
The Vera Tomlin Show. Let's talk about it. 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 On the Vera Thomas Show. Let's talk